the teacher at that time was a gay female.
Okay.
Gave Zion the confidence.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing.
That's a blessing.
To the treetops, from the sandbox. We had it stacking so we wouldn't even fall. A lot of dead limbs had to cut off. Riding with fake niggas made me cautious. You did me wrong, so salty. I had to get in my bag. Tell them people you ain't really honest. I got that for you. I got that for you.
Assignment that was done at school. And the assignment at school would say, tell me about yourself. And this was the time where Zaya took the time to say, I'm black, I'm this, and I'm gay. At the time, Zaya said, I am gay. So the teacher called home.
At 8 years old.
At 8 years old. The teacher called home and said, hey, I just want you guys to know we post these all over the school, but we didn't want to post this if you guys didn't blah, 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 right? So we sat down with the teacher and talked about the teacher at that time was a gay female.
Okay.
Gave Zion the confidence.
That's a blessing.
What's up, y'all? BAM TV. Yo, as you see on the screen, we got my man's superstar, D-Wade. And seems like he has a lot going on with his family here. Now, I was going to go in on this situation, but being empathetic to the situation, being like, I mean, you have a male son that's being influenced to do and act a certain way. Now, I'm trying to figure out, is that because you feel like you caused it, or is that because you're allowing things or people to influence your son? And that's where I would probably have a problem with you, but also the influencers. So, y'all check it out. Pay attention.
When it hit my doorstep at 3 years old, like I said, when me and my wife looked at each other, right? And the reason we looked at each other is because of this, you know, as kids, I used to put on heels. I used to do all those things. I try to put on whatever my sisters wear. When all my sisters did, I try to do those things.
Now wait, Mr. Dwayne Wade, because as a man myself that grew up with an older sister and a single mother, because my father passed when I was young, I never, not one time, thought about wearing any shoes, dresses, or any makeup or anything regarding that. And that's with no male figure in the household, brother. So don't lie to yourself to try to make it make sense. Again, you need to be trying to talk to this teacher and asking this teacher why you're allowing students in your class to talk about being gay. Pay attention.
When all my sisters did, I tried to do those things. So at first I said to myself, oh no, I did that. So I ain't just doing the things that I did. And then it kept going further and further. And then me and my wife had to look at each other and say, well, what if? And at that moment, everything that I was taught went out the window, because now I'm a parent. And my sole job and my sole responsibility is to make sure that this kid grow up knowing that it's supported and is loved by his father and the other parent, right? That's my only job. And so when it came down to Zaya, at 3 years old, I looked at it and said, okay, D, I looked in the mirror. And now, not only did I look in the mirror, when I went in the locker room, I started changing the way I talked. I started changing how I listen to things, and I started challenging people in a different way. Once I started to ask questions to my white friends.
Now here, brother, I have a question. Because in this sense, asking your white friends about your black son might not be logical. Also, maybe you should ask your son and get to the source. That way, you can have certain identifiers as far as to where he got this, and also to his teachers as far as their criteria and teachings. Does this add up or equates to what they're supposed to be teaching in the books? Pay attention.
No one is in the NBA or play basketball has never been openly gay.
Right.
I've never had a conversation with
even in
anybody
our
that
locker
was
room.
openly in our locker room. So I was ignorant when it comes to this space. So when my child came home at 8 years old, We were living in Chicago at the time. After I left Miami, which we talked about, my child came home. And the reason my child didn't come home, it was an assignment that was done at school. And the assignment at school would say, tell me about yourself. And this was the time where Zaya took the time to say, I'm black, I'm this, and I'm gay. At the time, Zaya said, I am gay. So the teacher called home.
At 8 years old.
At 8 years old. The teacher called home and said, hey, I just want you guys to know we post these all over the school, but we didn't want to post this if you guys didn't blah, 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 right?
Well, unfortunately for you, Mr. D. Wade, they hit you with the okie doke. Because in order to be gay, you would have to engage in a sexual act. And again, for an 8-year-old to be engaging in sexual acts, either that comes from pedophilia or molestation. So again, for them to be celebrating such acts should be questioned. And for you to just kowtow and adjust as far as to, well, let me say the right verbiage and this and that would be politically correct, but does that help your family? And does that essentially help the community? Again, I ask these questions because you're a heralded superstar and you could make a difference with your influence. But to each his own, I guess. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. And always make sure that you pay attention. Peace.
Spirit is strained and you limited to change. The lyrics in your limericks are changed. A different hook, the way the sentences arranged. More demented in your deliverance, more sinister in your slang. Sounds more belligerent when it's sang. The truth is limitless in its range. If you drop a T and look at it in reverse, it could hurt. Look at the grimaces of the pain, then it's worse when it works and your membership is gained. But you forgetting the proof diminishes in the flames like poof. The media pours images in your brain of the score of the war where militants are slain. The faces of the guilty where innocence is proclaimed, and they filthy. The deaf ears are the winners, the listeners are the lames. Of the ballad of the man that the son of a minister has became so.